Welcome to Biggest Geekass. We're your hosts. I'm Randy.
I'm Joe.
It's episode 137 of our show, and the date is Tuesday, May 2nd, 2023.
Yes, the actual 137.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to let you live down these mistakes here because you're the talent.
I have no time for details.
The math guy.
Math guy. I can't number. So how you been, man? What's new?
Okay. Had a week off. This is my second week off of vacation.
Sweet.
Second of three. Getting the house straightened up. Haven't had much time for anything else.
You've been working hard, dude. Both times I've called you in the last week, you've been like, I'm doing this, cleaning this, fixing that.
Yeah.
I've had a good week and weekend. I chilled out pretty much the whole time. Got my cabin con adventures pretty much squared away, which is only, this is the eve of the eve.
Eve of the eve.
Good morning, bright and early, cabin con begins. So I'm pretty pumped. I'm glad to talk about that at the end. Got a lot of folks here. Flady's in. Welcome. Crafting Gamer, Rambler, Patty's Parlor, Mr. Boivin, Martinson. He's panicking because he sent you a message, Joe. Duncan Todd. Darth.
Just now?
Yeah, like 5 seconds ago. He probably won't check it till later, Martinson.
According to, here we go.
I think he's trying to get you to rush Thursday morning. He's scared.
This is too early. We talked about this, Mr. Even if we do leave at that time, we won't be up there till 7.
Yeah.
Okay.
That'd be the earliest.
No, because we have to. If we're leaving, if he's picking me up at 6, and then we come up to your place.
Yep.
It'll be like 20 after, so it'll be another hour after that. So
right.
7:30.
Yeah, 7:30. It's all right.
If with adding time in for loading up and stuff.
Oh, Flady. Yes, sir. Friday and Saturday for Big Geek Con. His brother's going to join us. Right on. Good to hear.
Sounds great.
Welcome, Tommy Dye. I don't recognize the name, but we're glad to have you in the house. Bruce Lombardo's in the house. Arman, Patrick Demo. Good crowd. A lot of others I think I mentioned already. Duncan Todd.
It looks like instead of selling the tickets on Big Geek Emporium, which would be a giant hassle for the devs, they're trying to do other things instead of trying to throw this on top of that. I've put that. I'm putting that out on tabletop. Tabletop.events.
Oh, is that what you're gonna do? You're gonna do that one?
Yeah, I've got mostly set up. They're just doing a couple of background things, and then hopefully within a few days it'll be ready.
Who's this cracker? I didn't hear my name, Randy. Who is this guy?
It's Biggest Geekus, not Biggest Malachius.
Malachi, what's up, brother? I thought I said your name. That's all right.
Oh, you were announcing everybody who was here in chat, and he felt left out.
Everybody, I'm sure I missed others. Good job, Darth. He's trying to talk a couple of friends into coming to Big Geek Con. Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
You're coming, right, Darth? You'll be there. You wouldn't let your friends come without you, would you?
Darth sent me. That'll be cool. That'll be cool. Yeah. So I started working on that over the weekend.
Okay. You can make some inroads into that because I tried, didn't work out.
Yeah. It won't be. It won't. They are looking at for collecting money. They have to have a tax ID of some kind, so they have to verify that, and so there will be a link on the show on Big Geek Emporium, but it'll get sold offsite.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
All right. Well,
I have to give up a little bit of a percentage.
Just a little one.
Tiny. It's hopefully
It's
tiny.
what it is. It's what it is. It'll happen. It's happening here. So yeah, it looks like Darth is going to try to come, and so is Pleiade 1. So that's cool. And I know a lot of our homies around here will be here. Oh, check his T-shirt out, Joe. I know I saw it already. I'm gonna show you again.
Yeah. Nerd Cognito's Sparkle Troll T-shirt.
Yeah, that came in yesterday. I'm wearing it for Ryan David. Hopefully he shows up and sees it. If not, I'll be sad.
Yeah.
So did you kickstart that Anvil? That's one of our first.
I did. I did.
That's an Iron Age magazine to go along with which one was that? Oh yes, Mad Scribe. Which, by the way, as I talk with my face away from the microphone, Mad Scribe number 2 will be out soon, and my article will be in there.
All righty. I have my Mad Scribe right over there.
Editor said it would be in there. Very nice magazine. I'm excited about. Looks like Iron Age is going to have some like short stories in it too. Is that the idea?
Yeah, it's not precisely a gaming magazine.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nerd adjacent magazine.
It looked pretty cool. If you can still, I think the Kickstarter's over now, but you probably could still get in on it if you checked it.
Yeah, the Indiegogo campaign.
Yeah, Indiegogo
ended the other like yesterday or the day before, something like that.
Looks like some fun reading. I'm excited to get it.
But yeah, it's nerd adjacent. It's the guy who did it. He's an author, but he's into gaming. But it's not just tabletop. It's computer gaming and tabletop and other nerd topics as well.
You know, I'm a sucker for gaming related magazines anyway. I love Dragon and Dungeon back in the day.
But it's more from it's called Anvil and Iron Age because it's more traditional, or I'm not sure if he used the word masculine, but it's more in that vein.
Use the word masculine.
Yeah. Okay. He could have called it Testosterone Magazine, probably.
No, that's going to be ours. Testosterone, issue 1.
Biggest testosteronus.
Biggest testosterone. Oh, biggest testes. No, I'm just...
no, we can't do that. That would be not. That's
nice.
Not family friendly at all.
That's biologically true, though. I mean, I'm just sorry.
Yeah. I guess.
Wow.
You're a little oversharing there.
Well, it is what it is. So, Reactionary Principle Gaming with Mr. Boivin, Max. Questing Beast Kickstarter for Knave 2 launched today. He is already at 250,000.
Isn't that a zine?
No, Knave isn't. It's been around for a little while.
Or is it a game?
It's a game. It's like,
okay.
Like 5 pages. The original was like 5 pages long. Super micro game for OSR. Questing Beast. I mean,
he's got a huge audience, so that's not.
I hope he does well. I don't know if it's my cup of tea. Looks a little too threadbare for me, but
a 5-page game.
I think that was the old one. Yeah, very rules
light. Yeah, it would have to be with a page count of 5.
Malachi says, "Careful. According to James Cameron, testosterone is poison." Well, then I'm totally full of it.
Yeah, James Cameron is a movie director
who has none.
Yeah, likely.
Likely. He's a Hollywood guy. Chances are slim. Halcyon H, baby. You ready for Cabin Con, my brother? He's in the house.
Yeah, I think for it to be a poison, you would have to be able to prove that people can do without it at all. And even women have a little bit of testosterone normally in their system. Men need it. If you are deprived of testosterone, or so you have a deficiency somehow, you're more susceptible to a whole trove of diseases and conditions. So I don't know where he gets that poison word, except from his probably limp-wristed, blue-haired, left-wing, very left-wing ideology.
Dude, I've got to support this cat. Immortal Rising Comics. Hello, sir. Your comics look awesome, and I've got to get on your. Are you on Kickstarter, Indiegogo, or something else? I've subscribed to your channel. This guy was on Ryan David's Nerd Incognito.
The name sounds familiar.
He has comics that look really sweet. I've got to get in that stuff. So,
as in candy,
comics. Common.
You said
right.
sweet.
Well, I wouldn't suggest licking them, though. I don't know. He could tell us. Maybe they do taste good. But I'm going to have to they look really good. He gets on with some dudes, and they talk gaming, too. He's a nerd like us. He's our kind of people. Welcome, sir. Welcome. Yeah. IGG. What is that? Indiegogo, right? Is
okay. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm going to get, can I
still? Does get the emails for Big Geek Emporium admin. Okay. I get the admin emails for Big Geek Emporium. Yes. There is someone who is, who has okay. It's an issue. I contact people by their email. If they give me an email that isn't valid, it may have come in under the, he may have been an early adopter where the email validation thing didn't work exactly correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So, or his email has become invalid because when I've tried to send email out to this one individual, it doesn't work very well. But yes, I do.
Dude, the cabin hunters are making appearances. Tim Scott's in the house now.
All right, good deal.
Yeah, post that link, Immortal Rising. Do that, bud. Joe needs to buy them too. They're fantasy comics too, which look really good. So.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So, yeah, I've been doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, I am looking up what he's talking about, but yeah, I probably need. I have been away from my computer.
I don't quite understand. It says, "Hey, what did he ask?" Hey,
he's just asking if any one of us have access to the admin email from Big Geek Emporium.
Okay, that would be that hippie.
It would be me if I'm in front of my computer, which I haven't been all day, and a lot of yesterday. But yeah, I will get on. If there's an issue, I will get on it this evening. I will resolve all the things.
Yeah. But Iron Age looks good. I'm definitely glad you pointed me to it. It'll be a fun read. And Mad Scribe, I've not read it. I've skimmed it, but I'm going to pimp this little more, not just because I'm going to be in the next one, but look at this, man. This is nice glossy paper. It is a nice magazine. Yeah, by Mad Scribe Games. Dude, you guys should pick this up if you get a chance. It's really good. It got I think the Pundit's got an article in here. Grimm's got an article in here. Who else? Glenn Seal. Benoist Poiré. I like him. Was it Benoit? Benoit Poiré, probably. Oh, yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Several folks.
I was wondering, you did. There's an issue with the t-shirts. I will get that worked out.
T-shirts, man. Don't worry about no t-shirts. People don't need no t-shirts. Oh, I mean, yeah, they do. They need all the t-shirts. People need all the t-shirts. Oh, shall we go into the next little topic then? Or are you still doing stuff, Joe? Can we keep chatting?
We're good.
All right.
How about we go into it?
Yeah, let's.
So there's this Pinkerton thing that's flared up.
Just can't let it go. It really pissed me off today.
Yeah. Well, my anger train already sailed because I've when I first heard about it, I was like, "What the hell?" And I even mentioned it was last week because this has been a story for at least a week, maybe a little more.
And I just heard it on Nerd Cognito. Ryan went on, and today I was driving, listening to Nerd Cognito. I was like, here's a deal. Look, I'm a Christian, and I wouldn't shoot anybody for just stepping into my house unless they meant me harm. But those Pinkertons, had they done that to my wife, I would have brought the shotgun. And I would have said, you need to get out and don't come back and tell Watsy to suck it. I'm more than happy if Watsy can be reasonable. It's not like that happened to me where he got these magic cards and he shouldn't have, meaning that they sent them to him and he paid for them. I do think he should return them. I would do that if I was approached reasonably, but I don't know the law, but I feel like that dude, even Ryan David said it. I think he's a law school dropout. He said he's got to He's got a thing. I mean, he has a case.
He has a case, but he doesn't have enough money.
Yeah, fair enough. And Mr. Boivin made a good point. Hasbro just got an ethics award. Yeah, Professor DM gave it to him pretty good.
Those awards things are just they're almost always full of crap.
Oh, Professor DM said they essentially paid for it. He explained it in his recent video. I absolutely like that. I think I mean, I don't know how. Here's something. Darth said this. I agree. It says, Darth Thick says, I would think that guy should be able to sue WotC or the Pinkerton since the card was sent to him by WotC. Yep. And the fault was on
sure. It's all should, yeah. But how much money is he willing to spend, and what kind of damages can he claim? So,
Patrick Demo, and again, he's not a lawyer either, but he says it was an illegal search and seizure. The Pinkertons are not law enforcement, correct? They had no right to demand anything. Yeah. Well, they could demand all they want.
Oh, sure. They can knock on the door as representatives of Hasbro and say, hey, we understand you have some stuff you shouldn't. We'd like to take it off your hands. And then, they can ask.
Yeah, they can ask.
Sure.
And apparently, on this guy's video, look at this. Can everybody see that or not, Joe? Yeah.
Well, I don't know if everybody can see it, but I can.
Well, it's like these boxes. I'm guessing since his name, the dude is Don something anyway. Since he's an old school Magic the Gathering guy, apparently he is one of their biggest fans. Those were literally the boxes he bought. Those are not cheap. Right. So, yeah, I don't get it. I mean, to me, here's the deal. If you can support WotC right now, then you just don't care. None of the stuff.
A lot of people don't.
Whatever they do doesn't matter to you. They could kill people. Honestly, I mean, if they can barge in someone's house, where is your limit? So
most people don't care if it doesn't affect them directly. They don't care.
I mean, Todd, how long until a large boycott? I would hope last year. It didn't happen though.
Yeah. If what has happened up until now hasn't caused a large scale boycott or just a drop in sales, it's just not going to happen.
Well, I agree.
Right.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's like if we were talking about alignments, the majority of people would be unaligned, or they would be Hasbro aligned.
Yeah. I can tell you right now, I was there before, but I will never buy a Hasbro product if I can help it. And I definitely won't buy a WotC product.
Right. It looks like some people, as long as it says D&D on the cover, they'll buy it. They don't really care. Magic the Gathering, just like where's it at? Malachi says cardboard crack. The Magic the Gathering players will still buy cards. Yeah. There will be a lot of people who will buy it because it says Magic the Gathering on it. It's a brand recognition. It has a huge market share. Getting a lot of people to stop buying a thing,
mm-hmm.
especially a recreational item like that, because it has low impact. It'd be one thing if 1 million people were buying a particular product and it was proven to be harmful to everybody somehow.
Yeah.
A lot of people would stop buying it.
Yeah.
Without even needing to have a law. But it's a card game. So people are like, well, it's a card game. I'm just playing cards. This is this other guy's problem. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't affect me. I'm just going to keep buying it.
Right.
They don't care. And a lot of people probably aren't even aware. I wonder what percentage of Magic players are even aware of this situation.
I would think a lot of them. Well, maybe not.
How many
D&D people even watch YouTube? There's got to be more folks that play D&D and gaming than YouTube.
I mean, it's a niche hobby, and we're in a niche part of that hobby on YouTube.
Halcyon H says WotC wouldn't be liable, only the Pinkertons wouldn't be. Maybe. In my book, they're liable because they hired them.
Yeah, they're acting as agents of wizards. I mean, they might be able to. They might have some sort of a clause that keeps their hands clean.
Our buddy Larry Elliott, who does have a criminal justice experience. I mean, he's retired from the quote unquote system somehow as a worker. I won't give him away. He said he could likely find an attorney to take the case on contingency. Yeah,
It's possible.
Because I feel like he'd have a good case. Good case. I don't know though. Yeah.
If he can find someone who will do it on contingency or pro bono or whatever, then I would, and then see what happens.
Yeah. Green Apple
They
says
would really have to.
Go ahead.
They would really have to prove that they were were intimidating him. If they don't have some sort of recording, and it's just one party's word against the other party, that probably won't go anywhere.
Green Apple says I buy MTG cards from eBay, dented, ripped boxes, sell cheaper on it. Yeah, that's fine.
And it doesn't even have to be the cards on the inside that are damaged. The outside box will reduce the value a great deal. But I mean, it would depend on how convincing either side can make to the jury, if it's a jury trial, or to the judge if it's just if there's not a jury trial, because it might not go to jury.
Hardman says, me boycotting Watsy would have the same impact as boycotting Bud Light. I already don't buy their stuff, so zero impact to the companies. Yeah, I get it. I mean, a lot of the stuff doesn't work. You have a lot of lemmings, people that just don't care, don't pay attention. It's just, it's one of those things when you see it wrong, man, sometimes I'm just like, man, I do wish I was a paladin. I do wish it was a fantasy world because I'd go fix it right then and there. So,
right, but they probably have a dragon or two on their side.
Yeah, whatever. I'd have a holy avenger. Say good luck. Dragon better make because I want to get a hold of me. He's dead meat. I
don't not buy from Watsy because I think it's going to have some impact on their bottom line. Because I'm fully aware that it will not. I haven't bought anything from Wizards of the Coast. It's been years. Probably a good 5 years.
Probably longer than me. I was into 5e for a bit.
Uh-oh, is that YouTube interfering? Legion says he didn't get a notification. Did you unsubscribe yourself again?
Yeah, Longshot's got the right of it though. In the end, he doesn't buy from Watsy because they produce crap. Yeah.
And I don't like it. I don't buy it.
Their stuff is crap.
I mean, they have somewhat high production values within our niche. They still can have some crap art, and some people don't like their art direction anyway because it's too, too stylized, too high production. You can be overly produced or too high production. I mean, I like modern books from a layout point of view, but I do think that they overly rely on art a little bit too much.
Looks like one of Patty's buddies is here, Colin Kahn. They're talking about getting the layout done for something, so that's cool.
Woohoo! Good deal.
Yeah.
Welcome, Colin Kahn. Is this a first-time show to you? If so, hit that subscribe button. Maybe the rest of you should go check your subscription status because sometimes YouTube, in their infinite wisdom and management skills, decides to unsubscribe people seemingly randomly. It's possibly according to some
nefarious deal.
Well, could be, or it could be just incompetence. Who knows? Anyway, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button.
Yeah,
since I'm saying it, do the things. Do the things.
Show them that. Yeah. In the end, I would just like to see Watsy get their comeuppance. That's all. Like to see it.
Yeah. It would be nice, but honestly, they produce Wizards produces for the masses. We aren't the masses.
Yeah.
So we're not their audience. their audience will buy from them even after this. They'll say, "Oh, that was poorly done," and they'll chalk it all up to some poor management decision by some individual.
Kyle brings in, I guess. It was Kyle's fault.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Oh well. Let's say we slide on into our monster mash, Joseph.
Yes, let's do that. Main topic is monster mash. We're talking about orcs.
Orcs and more, actually. The plan was, because there's so many humanoids in the game. I remember even when I was young and starting D&D, which, I started with the Beckme stuff. Orcs, goblins, bugbears, hobgoblins, kobolds, and gnolls. These are the ones that I chose. They were kind of, once I knew them all, they were just kind of interchangeable, I thought. And
all the humanoid monsters.
And I learned pretty quickly that's not the case. So if you're going to have half a dozen, there's a big difference at first level, especially in any kind of TSR D&D, whether you're fighting half a dozen kobolds, half a dozen goblins, or orcs, or hobgoblins, or gnolls. It can be a very different fight because a few hit dice does make a difference. So,
oh, sure, because the longer they stick around, because they're going to have more hit points, the more chance they're going to have to hit. And with that higher hit dice, they have a better chance to hit in general. So they're going to get more hits. And the higher hit die creatures often do better damage too. Right. So it's kind of a combination effect there.
So let's go through the additions like we normally do. So I kind of broke it down for each one of the types. In original D&D, the bugbear was a bit conspicuous. He was missing. He was not even part of it, but they did have the others. The armor classes were between 6 and 7. They had between 1/2 to up to like 1+1 hit dice. None of them have more than that. I thought it was interesting that they talked about orcs being more varied, and they can have stronger monsters and men leading them. So they talked about their leaders being an 11th level magic user, a 9th level fighter. This was an OD&D. Inter-tribe hostility, dislike of full daylight, just dislike, no penalty, where the goblins got a penalty for full daylight. And they described kobolds as pretty much nothing more than half-size goblins. That's all they said.
Kobolds are half-sized goblins?
Yeah, that was it. That was pretty much the whole story on kobolds.
Well, but goblins aren't that tall either.
No. They were half strength or half size, yeah. The gnolls weren't given too much love either. They're being hyena-like men. Of course, hobgoblins, and goblins, hobgoblins, and bugbears were all in the same direct family. But I thought, the bugbears weren't there, so I guess I can't say that. That's later on. Hobgoblins are basically just really tough goblins. They're bigger. Their leaders could fight as ogres. But other than that, there weren't a lot of difference in what I thought most of those creatures were. Not enough to be interesting.
Well, were orcs pigmen, essentially?
They didn't actually say that. I actually have.
Didn't they have snout-like faces like pigs?
Oh, the picture showed that for sure.
For old D&D?
Yeah.
I know in AD&D first edition, they were more human-like and could, with a high enough, half orcs could pass for human with a high enough charisma.
Yeah, OD&D had little to no description of the creatures in great detail. I mean, let me read. I'll read directly the goblin because it's not terribly long. I mean, they had basically a paragraph, and some monsters had a few paragraphs, but that was about it. They give all their hit dice and armor class at the front of the book, but the orcs were kind of a long description, so they'd probably expect you to understand it. These small creatures, goblins, are described as in chainmail. I love that part of it. They see well in darkness or dim light, but when they are subjected to full daylight, they subtract -1 from their attack and morale dice. They attack dwarves on sight. Their hit dice must always equal at least 1 pip. When in their lair, the Goblin King will be found. He will fight as a hobgoblin in all respects, surrounded by 5 to 30 guards. And as we had a discussion before, in terms of number of appearing, all these humanoids were huge. Kobolds and goblins would be 40 to 400, orcs 30 to 300, hobgoblins and gnolls 20 to 200. And again, no mention of bugbears. But that was the shorter entry. The orcs had a much larger entry. There was no mention of what they even look like. They react as goblins. Oh, do not like reacting as goblins. So maybe they did get a penalty. Orcs have different tribes. They attack each other. That stays consistent through the TSR editions. But there's literally no description of the orc or the hobgoblin or the goblin in terms of how
because I thought on some descriptive level, the orcs were like pig-faced humanoids. Kobolds were originally like dog-faced.
In first edition, they were scaly little dog men. Yep.
Right, and then goblins. I can't remember what goblins were early on.
I can show you a picture. I actually got the bookmark.
But some of these words are interchangeable.
Sure. I mean, historically, mythologically speaking, I don't know if you can see that. Well, probably not. Those are the little guy right there on the right. Oh, sorry. Is the goblin. Just a little dude like that. He looks kind of a little humanoid.
He's just humanoid, but not human.
Wide mouth across his face. That's a 1E book, which the 1E added some more beef to the creatures. The second edition Monster Manual did even better with adding more background description, but 1E did do a pretty good job. They did talk about pinkish snouts for orcs in 1E.
But they're kind of like beast men. They're all bestial humanoids.
Yeah. Patrick Demo says he prefers the bestial pigmen for orcs.
Right.
And Arnman says, I've never had green-skinned orcs in my games. They're more bestial, snout-faced creatures. Yeah.
So Warhammer 40K, they were green-skinned. They're green-skinned and are actually fungus-based, right?
Oh, really?
From what I've heard. Yeah, they grow out of they're plant-based creatures.
Yeah.
They're soy.
It wasn't until
but they're I think they're fungus based, more fungus based.
Gotcha.
They grow out of the ground.
Oh, okay.
I think
that's kind of cool.
Yeah, 40K orcs are fungus according to Halcyon. I thought I remembered that correctly. But some of these words are interchangeable in our earthly lore. I'm pretty sure bugbears and hobgoblins, goblins, they're all just, boogeymen, essentially. Different variations on boogeymen.
Mr. Boivan says he likes the ape-like orcs. Interesting comment since we're sliding into 1E. Oh, we skipped over
those are more third edition, because in third edition they grew. Orcs got big.
Yeah, in Beckme, I'm kind of skipping over it because it says he called orcs bad-tempered humans with animal-esque with bestial features. That was in Beckme. Goblins were mentioned to be wolf riders, hobgoblins, bigger, meaner goblins, bugbears, hairy goblins. That's where the bugbears showed up. Dog-like, scaly, rust-brown skin for kobolds. And gnolls were still found in
gnolls hyena. Yeah, those were hyena men. I couldn't remember that.
Pretty consistent. I mean, that stayed consistent. What I found interesting was there was nothing mentioned in 1E about the gnolls and their worshiping Yanagu, the gnoll demon lord, which I always loved. I think maybe that came about in the Deities and Demigods book. It's been a while since I've seen that one. They mentioned in the or maybe that was under, what? Let me do a little look-see here. In the first edition, Yanagu, Demon Lord of Gnolls. That's where it's mentioned in the first monster manual for 1E.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think the description was great in original D&D. Beckme didn't add a whole lot, but I think 1E added a lot to the humanoids. But second edition really That's not good, Larry. That's probably TMI. Larry Elliott says I'm spreading tons of spores tonight. That's not a good thing to hear.
How does one do that?
I don't know.
Are you planting mushrooms?
Yeah, yeah. Malachi hits it here. That was funny. Gnolls and OD&D were called a gnome troll combo. I forgot that. Good point, Malachi. Yeah, Gnolls in OD&D were called a gnome and troll combo. That's weird.
That's very weird. And ouch. Unless it's a magical combination, which it would probably have to be.
Yeah, with these critters, they all sound very similar. There was some interesting things that came about though. I think it was in 1E where they start talking a lot for all these humanoids, how they deal with constructions. Whether they're good miners, whether they will build buildings or just live in caves. The gnolls are described as being, the hyenamen are described as being rapacious and kind of hard. They won't work. They're lazy. But the hobgoblins, they can note new structures, adept at mining. Larry Elliott's always laughed at that ability for a dwarf. What's the one he liked, the dwarven ability of
detecting slope?
Sloping passages. That always seemed weird to me. Yeah. So
well, when you can get twisted up when you go underground in real life and not realize how far down you are. But if you are not in panic mode and you're not talking about real subtle differences, most people can generally tell. And then if you're not sure, you can drop some water down and it can flow in a particular direction. Then you know that there's a slope.
Yeah. But I thought it was very interesting that really, because I remember in 3rd edition, kobolds were master trap setters, right? They're really good at setting traps. But that wasn't
Kobolds?
Yeah, kobolds. But in
that wasn't early in the game, was it?
It was not. I didn't see it anywhere. Not even first. Let me see if I saw it in 2nd edition.
I don't remember seeing that till Pathfinder.
And that was not until I think it was 3rd. Give me a second. I got the 3.
It could be.
I got the 3.5 monster manual right here.
Because I know that they did things, I guess, to further differentiate between the humanoids.
Yeah, it was. But kobolds. Let's see here.
Oh, it's interesting what you have here listed next to all of these guys.
The alignments?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do they all end in?
Evil.
Evil. I wonder. That's interesting.
It is. Yeah, it's funny that orcs changed. Did orcs change alignment? They were lawful evil in 1st edition. And they stayed lawful evil, I think, throughout. I didn't look too close in 4th and 5th edition because it just annoys me. But
do we have like an idea how baseline in D&D, if it's even there, what their origins are?
You mean the orcs?
As in were orcs created as is? Gnolls, goblins, all those guys, were they just created by some evil deity? Or is that just left up to the
I think you have to go to deities and demigods. They talk about Grumpsh creating the orcs, Maglubiet creating the goblins, Yanagug probably creating the gnolls, possibly. Malachi makes a comment about Tucker's kobolds, or the trap part may come in. I just saw it in the 3rd edition guide. Shadow Pawns makes a comment, from before. Welcome, Shadow Pawn. Shadow's Pawn. I think slightly sloping passages was one of the ways that Gygax would trick players into thinking they were higher up than they were, luring them deeper. Back when the deadlier things were at lower levels, so if you went down, that was bad. Welcome, Jack the 71st. Glad you're here, bud. But yeah, I think not much was given to that description until
you had to dig a little.
You had to dig either in the demon sketch, the demon lord section of the monster manual, or in the deities and demigods. It was just one of those things they didn't do much with. Yes, the orcs were created by Grumpsh. Yes, correct. Maglubiet created the goblins, to my knowledge. I mean, I'm winging it here because I think that's, to what I remember, that's the case. I was just looking more at I didn't think of the orcs.
And this only is a huge issue when you have our modern players want to excuse the evilness of orcs and say it's not how they're created and all that other stuff. And it's fantasy, and it's your table. If you want to have orcs that are tree hugging, flower loving do-gooders, that's fine. But
listen to this quote about half orcs in the Monster Manual 1. As orcs will breed with anything, there are any number of unsavory mongrels with
problematic
blood, particularly orc goblins, orc hobgoblins, and orc humans. Orcs cannot crossbreed with elves. So I think their implication is half orcs were not necessarily half human. So
right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
But the mongrel would piss people off today, I guess.
The word mongrel, because of course you use that. That's one of those problematic words, and all of these creatures can be considered mongrel-like because they're kind of they can be looked at as anthropomorphic bestial creatures,
right?
Mongrelly and problematic.
It was interesting in the first edition. They talked about kobolds hating pixies, brownies, and gnomes. Goblins would attack dwarves on sight, and hobgoblins had a hate on for elves. Orcs too. That was interesting how they picked. That's to make the game probably make it interesting. So if you encounter these different humanoids, right? So if you're the elf in the party, the hobgoblins will attack you first, but the kobolds will go after the dwarf, and the kobolds will go after the gnome, and the goblins will go after the dwarf. I kind of like that.
And if they have some animosity among themselves, amongst the humanoids, you might be able to use that. If you need to.
Yeah. Armin makes a good point. The game suffers if you cannot have automatic evil enemies. Every encounter will require a discourse to determine if they are enemy. It is good to know before the encounter if they are bad guys. Yeah, it's great to have some things that you can just kill.
Beat on.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not meant, and it's not the problem that people want to bring the nuance of the real world into their game world. And they can do that all they want. Yeah. I prefer there being some definite bad guys.
I think there should be more definite than ones that are indeterminate, but I don't mind a few curveballs.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
You can always have exceptions.
Oh, this is good.
And you can always subvert some of these for your particular world.
Sure.
In general, these humanoid creatures are evil, but maybe gnolls are not for some reason.
Okay. I got to get Mr. Max's up, but first Bruce just brought it tonight. I love saying black orcs. That means they're professionals. Extra evil. When I played, Gen Con story, I talked about Luden, the city of adventure that I played in at Gen Con before.
Mm-hmm.
And we fought these orcs that had 90 hit points each. We're like 7th, 8th level characters, and we're going to be fight this bunch of orcs. And we're like, pfft. And they said these are called black orcs. They were particularly tough. So, Boivan's got a cool one for later on. I'll put a star about that. We need to come back at 8. Remember, around 8:12. Boivan's got a couple good comments. Might fit into the later part of this.
Oh, I also want to note that. Oh, I want to ask, since you did some research into the orcs and all this.
Well, just in the D&D sphere. Just in the D&D sphere.
Right. Did any of the books say, hey, we're taking our cues from the real world to make these orcs and making them out to be, this is what we think black people are?
I think most of them had that. It must have been in the index somewhere. Some of that, yeah, some note somewhere. I'm sure it said we're taking that cue. I didn't see it anywhere. In none of the books. It's not a thing.
Well, because folks will say that's as a matter of course, as a matter of fact, that's what these things are. But you're going to have to read that in instead of see it plainly in black and white.
Every single edition, you're going to have to read that in.
Right.
It's not there. I read the entry, not completely thoroughly. I read through this many hit dice creature but there'll be 2 to 7, 4 hit dice fighters, 3 to that sort of stuff. I skipped that, but I did read the entries over and over, the description and their culture and where they act. And yeah, it's not there. I'm confident saying it's not there.
Yeah, monsters are just kind of the embodiment of naughty things, be it evil or just wanting to cause trouble, and they're the things that you're supposed to go after.
Well, I'm sure when Watson gets around to going back to the old books, they'll go ahead and put it in there so they can say, "Look, we took it out." Yeah, Martin says it was in the errata.
Yeah, Roger. Well, second and third edition, there's big errata.
Yeah. Jack the 71st backs me up. He says, nope, not in our researches into Gygax's Dragon magazine articles going all the way back to Dragon issue #1.
Yeah, you would be, yeah. But people will say, well, of course not. It's so endemic to you white folks that you're not going to come out and say it.
Dude, that's the beauty of the left and the CRT stuff.
Yeah,
You know, the way it's set up, critical theory is set up like this. If you disagree with it, then clearly that shows you're guilty of it.
Right.
It's like, that's no way to have a philosophy. I mean, no philosopher ever that was worth his salt would be like, here's my philosophy and you can't debate it. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, philosophy is a tool of white supremacy.
Ooh, our man's on it. The Pinkertons are researching the orc origin as we speak.
Yeah.
Run, Grumsh, run. The Pinkertons are coming. Oh, geez Louise. So second edition, of course, when you look at the second edition, I have the Monstrous Manual. I just get sad when I look on Facebook, Joe. I'm on an RPG auction site. Gosh, I sold my stuff too soon. If I waited to now, I would have made bundles on my first and second and D&D stuff. But look at some of these. I mean,
the compendium, or are you talking about the compendiums in particular?
Compendium second edition, Monstrous Manual, which is a compendium. Look at the great write-ups. I mean, they're much better. They're much better and thorough than the first edition one. The gnolls, for example, introduced the Flins. They had the Flynn bar, basically the nunchuck wielding gnolls. I love those guys. Which, by the way, the gnolls are my favorite humanoid. And they mentioned their, I think their fondness, them being demon worshippers were mentioned in second edition in the explicitly, I feel like. I could be wrong, though. But the Flynn bar, one thing I didn't notice, if a Flynn hits you with their nunchuck, their Flynn bar, it had an entangling ability. You had to save versus rod, staff, wand. Weird. Or get entangled in the weapon.
Because it's so reliable.
Stuff. Huh?
It's so reliable at trapping you.
Yeah.
It must be.
But they got 2 attacks per round, dude. They were no joke. They were tough.
Flins
were tough. Flins were tough.
Oh, yeah. I hated when you brought them out.
Yeah, they could actually beat the tar out of some people. I mean, I kind of left it open and I left, but let me find them again. Sorry, guys. I know this is very exciting watching me flip through a book. But the Flins would roll in with 3+3 hit dice, 13 intelligence, and 18 charisma. How about that?
A gnoll.
A gnoll. Well, probably more to other gnolls. To gnolls. 18 to gnolls. They thought they were.
Wow.
Yeah. Malachi says, Invisible Stalker. Best art in the Monstrous Manual. Yeah, it could definitely be in you could definitely be in Watsy's book now. But yeah, the goblins were pretty similar. I didn't see a lot of change. It did say they didn't eat very much in the second edition. They just kill for pleasure.
Yeah.
Hobgoblins were mentioned as feeling superior to the other goblins, which they should. And bugbears were huge, and they could even eat goblins if they got around them. Oh, I guess second edition mentioned the kobolds as being good trap setters.
Okay.
So that's what I've noted. Sadistic and cruel. Now, they brought about variants. Even in, I think, first edition, hobgoblins had a water variant called a coalinth. And
I remember that.
And kobolds had a winged variant called Urds, which I had forgotten that completely and was just weirded out in third edition when I saw the winged kobolds. I'm like, why are they giving kobolds wings? But yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. But I thought second edition was fun. Oh, pig face reference on orcs in second edition. That was mentioned. And Orogs, I like them. Ogre orc variants. That was fun. I used to use them. I used to love to bring those in when you thought you were fighting orcs. They'd be Orogs.
Oh, right.
That's fun.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the stand-in.
Yeah. Oh, they look pretty easy. Not 4 hit dice. Suck it. I think they had 3 hit dice or something. They were pretty tough. Yeah.
But they were a ringer. We called them a ringer.
You did. That was everything I brought in.
Because didn't they look like an orc?
I think the Orogs did. Give me just a secondus. Orc. There's an orc. Do they have an Orog? They did not. Elite orcs, a race of great orcs. The Uruk-hai, baby. That's what they were. They were 6.5 feet tall. So no, you couldn't tell. Since it's usually easy to tell when Orogs are present among orcs. They're the vanguard, and they had +3 strength bonus on damage. And some of them,
because orcs early on, orcs were small.
Yeah.
Well, not small size category, but they're shorter than average human.
The half orc was a player character race in 1E, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
they're just ugly humanoids that didn't look all that different from humans, except that they're ugly. Maybe they might have tusks, but probably not. And they had a high enough charisma they could pass for human.
Yeah. I did think that second edition again added a lot of interesting flavor. I still don't know. Oh, hold on. Bruce has a question. At Randy Nichols, what was the second edition adventure that looked like it had a photo from Yana's palace showcasing the ugliness of the pig orcs? I don't know Yana's palace.
I have no idea what that is.
I know. I feel like I do. Bruce is describing it pretty well. I don't know the palace, but I think is that where there a bunch of orcs are up real like they have a close-up shot near the bottom of the module. Like if this was the module size, near the bottom half, Bruce was the orc heads there. So you got a real close. That's what I'm thinking of. And there's a castle off in the distance. I think that's the one, but I can't remember the name, buddy. So, yeah. Jabba's palace. Okay, not Janna's palace. Yeah, I'm vaguely remembering that. Oh, what did Patrick say? No one knows the little known forbidden half orc, half dwarf variant, the dork. And then Orange follows that up with this. At Patrick spelled DWORK, dwark. We had a half dwarf, half dragon called a dwagon. That's awesome. Dude.
Grown.
Yeah. Bringing the cheese, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Right on. Revenge of the Dwark. Oh, man. So third edition comes along, right? And goblins become neutral evil. Bugbears are chaotic evil. And hobgoblins are lawful evil. So the disciplined, warlike hobgoblins. And then the bugbears were given a lot better description. They were super sneaky. Kobolds were more reptilian in third edition. So I think they became draconic in nature in third edition. That's what they changed. So they went harder on the scale thing.
Right. Didn't hobgoblins get kind of Asian at some point?
At some point, they did kind of get that feel. Let me see if I can find these dudes. You would think if I was
the hobgoblin might be an Asian based creature anyway. But
actually, I really like the hobgoblin picture in third edition.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. But I don't see the Asian theme there. They were pretty tough. They did start with the whole, in 3.5, you get the stats for hobgoblin characters and goblin characters and all that at the end of the monster manual. But the kobold, that's what I was looking for. The kobold became more reptilian. And I think they were actually, I know in the first adventure for third edition, oh gosh, what was that blue module called? They did several blue rimmed modules. Some folk will know it. Sunless Citadel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know if I played in that. I ran that. I kicked off a really long-standing third edition game that I ran, but
Yeah. So Jack, the 71st, the hobgoblins in the first edition had samurai style armor. So
yeah.
I did remember some kind of Asian influence on the hobgoblin.
Let's do a little comparison here. I'm going to pull out the classic kobold from 1E. I'm not sure if I showed this or not. Let me find the classic kobold. I should be sharing a PDF, but here it is. You got a little scimitar.
Yeah.
Classic
That's a
kobold.
kobold.
Scaly
Yep.
dog dude, right?
Well, the scaly part on that one might be armor.
Oh, might be armor. Fair enough. And then now we get the kobolds in 3.5, and they go completely
Different.
Yeah, this is reptilian, no doubt.
Yep.
Now, I kind of like the kobolds being reptilian. The doggy kobold was kind of what I remember and kind of have a fondness for, but they speak draconic with a voice that sounds like that of a yapping dog. So they kind of kept it a little bit. It says this. Now they did a good job underneath the third edition, giving a quick description. This humanoid is about the size of a gnome or halfling, has a scaly hide, a naked tail like that of a rat, and a dog-like head with 2 small horns. Yeah, what a monster! It's a little monster, dude, for sure.
Oh yeah.
Kill that thing. Kill that thing. But you can be a kobold character. -4 strength, +2 dex, -2 con. How does that sound?
Oh yeah. I'll take all of that.
Yeah.
Kobold goodness.
Yeah, I definitely preferred the scaly kobolds of 3.5, just because I like them to be different. Oh, Patty, no. He says he misses his 3.5 books, lost them all because my D&D club lost them.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Well, if you come to Big Geek Con, I'll bring some third edition books you can look at. You can't keep them. I got mine.
You can't have them. You can look at them. You can touch them. Maybe.
Tonkaton, I get it. He says kobolds became early dragonborn things, broke my heart. Them doing that to them sweet innocent dogs. Honestly, I'm glad they just felt more different in third edition than they did before, especially with the description of being. I always thought kobolds were like weak goblins. If you wanted them to fight weak goblins, put kobolds in there. But I kind of like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I can understand why they would want to differentiate them somewhat, but especially since you have kobolds and goblins that serve kind of the same purpose within the humanoid sphere.
Mm-hmm.
But you could just, they could have just stepped into that and just said, hey, the humanoids of the goblin type, all these they called them goblinoids at some point.
Mm-hmm.
They're all, beast men of varying size. Maybe they have, but they don't necessarily have all the same origin because different demons and bad guy gods made them. So
yeah,
we'll figure.
Mar Hawkman said dog dragon man is a workable concept. I think he's making fun of that. Well, to me, it just screams magic. I mean, because they look like creations by some mad sorcerer. Yeah.
Well, most in any of these fantasy worlds we play in, the origins of everything, including humans and dwarves and elves, they're all creations for the most part.
Right.
Generally speaking, it's not like most fantasy worlds go with an evolution concept where things arose naturally out of the ground. Is almost always opposite of that, where all these creatures are created either by gods. In the case of all these humanoids, are mostly demons, and then a lot of weird creatures are the resort of magic. So, from one source or another.
Yeah.
So
now I do think, right, Mr. Bob brings a good point here. I always thought this: how many races of humanoid monsters can you have in your world before it becomes silly? Yeah, I thought that for a long time.
Oh yeah, I get that. It's just like they come up with more and more and more and more monsters in They were doing it in 3.5. They were doing it, well, probably in 2nd edition as well, and then Pathfinder. And
Old Man Grognard had an episode not too long ago on his new king size episodes where he talks about that, how you kind of pick and choose monsters for your campaign setting. I think you should. I don't think you have 10 monster manuals and go, oh yeah, every single one of those is in my world, because that probably won't make a lot of sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense really. Even taking in fantasy elements, supporting that wide of a variety of creature, something would happen at some point. There would be genocides.
Now, if you were to run a Planescape campaign, then it all makes sense.
Yeah, they're on different planes.
Exactly.
Yeah, you don't have. Yeah, you're not restricted to one world.
Planescape, check.
That is an advantage of Planescape.
It is. What about? I made a special note for Pathfinder goblins because they really took. Look, I love the Pathfinder goblins. They were funny. We Be Goblins has been a series of adventures they have given away for free on Free RPG Day, and I have the first couple. I think Martinson has them all. They are fun. You play goblins. But I loved how they defined them well. They were super. I like their take on goblins. They were neutral evil. They were quite superstitious. I'm just going to read the whole thing. This is from the Wikipedia page or from PFSRD. It says, are quite superstitious and treat magic with a fawning mixture of awe and fear. They have the habit of ascribing magic to the mundane as well, with fire and writing both taking on mystical power in the goblin society. Fire is much loved by goblins for its capacity to wreak great destruction and because it doesn't require size or strength to wield, but written words are hated. They also opened their first adventure path with goblins as the main enemy. What was the first one called? Bruce probably knows. Goblins believe that writing steals words out of your head. I love that. And a result of this belief, goblins are universally illiterate. Goblins, and they're voracious and can eat their body weight in food daily without growing fat. Goblin lairs always have numerous storerooms and larders. While they prefer human and gnome flesh, a goblin won't turn out any food except perhaps vegetables.
Well, if they are illiterate,
yeah,
they're going to stay within the like the Stone Age level. I mean, they're not going to be making a lot of different kinds of things. They're the trap makers.
Who? Goblins? No, kobolds are.
Those are kobolds. Okay, gotcha.
No, I'm not talking about We Be Goblins 1, Bruce. I'm talking about the very first adventure path, Rise of the Rune Lords. What was that first issue called? Not something about Sandpoint. What was it called? Anyway, I've got it. I probably should just turn around and look. That would be the smart thing. No, I don't see where I put it.
So you're talking about the first entry in the Rise of the Rune Lords adventure path?
Yeah, burning something. Something burns.
It burns is.
Yeah. Hold on. Oh. I'm going to destroy this if I'm not careful. Making all kinds of a mess. Burnt offerings.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a fun little adventure at the beginning of the Rise.
You and Bruce got it out at the same time. As soon as you said it, it was there.
Well, Bruce and I, great minds think alike, dude. That's how it works. Burning Wheel, Tonka Todd.
And the obligatory advanced bestiary comment from Bruce. More importantly, you will have room for templated monster tribes. Aha! I snuck in a reason for you to own a copy of Advanced Bestiary.
Yeah, he'd mentioned changing your 12-mile hexes to 50-mile hexes, and then your world has plenty of room for all these stupid monster books. Oh, Rolling Bones. Brian Howard says, illiterate and eat their body weight in food? Sounds like your average Redditor.
You know, if these monsters sought to maintain some sort of equilibrium, at least even if it's just instinctual, and nature does not necessarily do the equilibrium thing, considering earthquakes and all of the natural disasters we have. But creatures within an ecosystem, in our world, you don't have too many, except unless they're the apex predators. You don't have too many of them that will destroy a whole other set of creatures.
No.
Right? So birds, unless they become overpopulated for some reason due to, say, volcanic activity or storm or earthquake or something.
Keep going. I got him.
They're not going to cause really huge imbalances. In a fantasy world, you could just accept that doesn't happen, and not even, you can hand wave it. You don't have to explain it. But you could also have some reasons. There could be some magical reasons why all of these different humanoids don't maraud everything else out of existence.
Yes.
I mean, they're not going to be able to take dragons and giants and whatnot, but they could lay waste to a lot of everything else.
Yeah.
I mean, orcs and what's the other one who just likes to destroy stuff? Is it not hobgoblins?
No, you're thinking of the gnolls are rapacious. The hyena guys are very rapacious. They'll eat a place. They'll eat a place free of all food.
Right. So they go through and do that. The orcs could just burn everything down, and together they could just raise whole big sections of forest. Could deforest your whole world if there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
But they don't, because you need your world to have forests. So,
but D&D stats wise, dude, a couple of dragons would annihilate a huge swath of humanoid populations. Could kill them all if they didn't go hide.
Right.
I mean, even first edition dragons, they could never hit a -1 armor class. Are you kidding me?
Right.
Oh, wait a minute. Anything good. A 20 can hit anything. Yeah.
Right. It's probably best for us not even to really worry about ecological balance. It's a game.
I know you say that, but that just kind of, okay, look, you don't need to worry about it. I'll worry about it, because I like it to make some sense. No matter how magical. I mean, Iron Man made a comment before about castles and flying castles and dragons and fireballs and stuff. I get it, but I like for things to have some sort of semblance. But if you notice, when you play my campaigns, it's not like I have you fight 40,000 different monsters.
No, there's themes.
There's themes, and I kind of run through it, and it's usually monsters too powerful for you to fight. And that's the kind of theme I like. But
yeah, I hate
trees. Confirmed.
Why do you hate trees, Joe?
Ooh, that would be a cool world. Jack the 71st says dragons are genocide machines. What if a flight of dragons comes about anytime any populations gets out of control?
You don't even need a flight. You just need one good sized dragon.
If you Smaug size, you can just go, suck it, people.
Yeah. Hit town to town. You just kill everything.
Okay, let's do it. Let's go to 4th edition. I hate to say it, just for a minute.
All right.
Just for
fine, if you must. We will, I guess.
Now, Halcyon H said earlier, 4th edition did a good job with some of these creatures, and I don't disagree. There are goblins and there are goblins. The word goblin refers to both the goblin creature as well as its whole family: bugbears, hobgoblins, regular goblins. It was very common that they put different types. I don't have the book, but they would have like a goblin archer, a kobold sapper. They'd have these. Every creature had 3 or 4 little cool, kind of like 13th Age.
Essentially templated.
Yeah, templated or skilled in some way. They did continue with dragons being revered by kobolds. Orcs worship grumps, they said in that particular book. And they talk immediately about the demon worshipping gnolls. So that was kind of interesting. But there's not much description in the 4th edition book in general. They favored in 4th edition stats over lore. So
right. Yeah, and that's the thing. That's why the Player's Handbook to me was hard to read, because it's just a bunch of stats.
Yeah, and I do think 3rd edition was definitely better than 4th. But I think 2nd kind of favored lore over stats, maybe, but I liked it. I thought second edition they were the best monster manuals to read, the best, each one of those, when they had the pamphlets, what was it called? The Monsters Compendiums. Dude, they were great to read. As a DM, I loved all the lore and the flavor of all the monsters. They put some effort into it. And third edition was okay, but I don't think anything ever topped second edition for flavor of the monsters. But
well, sure, but we also, I think some people like lots of description in a monster's entry, and then other people like brief monster entries, so you can get more monsters in a particular book. And I go back and forth. I think that some monsters should have bigger entries, and some, like orcs, you don't need a huge entry for orc or goblin, or no, you don't need a big entry for them. Dragons, you might need a big entry, and there might be some other ones, especially and you might need a large orc entry if the orc is a high prevalence and high impact in your game world, especially if there's a lot of different kinds of orcs. You can have a big entry about that. But in general, I mean, I think it would just depend on the game. And considering these creatures are like cannon fodder for the most part, you don't need a large entry for these guys.
Yeah, but I mean,
if you wanted, second edition made big entries for most of your creatures.
They did, and people complained about that. Then they complained the other way for fourth edition.
Yeah.
I agree. Jack the 71st says lots of random tables to generate your own hordes of orcs. Yeah, that would have been cool.
Sure.
Now, fifth edition, they do have some problematic words in their fifth edition book.
Oh, but they edit that stuff out at headquarters, and your books change automatically.
Orcs are savage raiders.
Yeah.
Piggish faces, prominent lower tusks. Yeah. Cruel and connected to Yanagu or goblins or gnolls. And then goblins are small, black-hearted, selfish humanoids. How could they be good? How could they be
that doesn't give much hope for them being good at all.
I agree with Darth. Back to second edition. Sorry. Reading the 2E monster manual entries was written in a way that just reading it would give you ideas for a game, where the later ones didn't for me. Yeah, agreed. Like what for the 5E book? Oh,
you misspoke. You were reading out of your 4E stuff here and said 5E.
Oh no, 5E was the one. No, I jumped ahead. Remember how I skip ahead quickly?
Yeah, but everything you just said about the orc is in the 4E thing too.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, savage, bloodthirsty marauders.
Yeah, interesting. Plague civilized races, savage raiders, pig faces, black-hearted goblins, military-minded and dominating their cousins is what the hobgoblins do. Bugbears, even when paid, are best unreliable allies, unless they're player characters. Then they're very reliable because they can be lawful good paladins.
That's awesome.
According to 5e, I guess.
Not.
I mean, 5e's fine. I like their monster manual. Okay, actually, I liked 4e's monster manual. I wish if they'd had about a half a page of lore attached to the creatures, I would have liked it better. But what they failed in lore, they made up for some cool variations on the creatures.
So, right, we were saying they had problematic words because of savage.
The word
can't use that word these days.
No, that's a no word.
According to some people with blue hair.
Yeah. Goblins crave power and regularly abuse whatever authority they obtain. Huh. Sounds like a certain political party. Yeah. Probably the Uniparty.
Yeah.
Huh. So, yeah, but I mean, 4E and 5E was, I don't know. Statistically, I liked 4E better in terms of like not mechanics, but just I liked how they laid the stats out for the monsters. And they had different variations of creatures, so you could have them fight different levels of opponents reasonably well. 5th edition, it's okay, but it just, the more I think about 5th edition, the more it seems like a poor man's version of trying to combine old school D&D with 3rd edition. That's what it seems like.
Yeah.
I'm just not very good, generally speaking. That's just me. I don't hate the game. I've played a lot, but it's just not. I don't know. You know what? And it could be I'm just colored by WotC's actions in the last year.
Yeah.
That's probably the truth. I'm just like,
And that's what I've said. I'm not buying it, and I'm not giving it favorable notes because I find it hard to
I'm at the point, Joe.
say anything good about WotC.
I'm at the point right now. I know I could happily never play 5e again, but I'm almost tempted to say I'm not going to play 5e again. Just not going to do it. And I mean, I halfway wanted to sell all my books. I really did.
I could sell all of my one book.
Yeah, I got a bunch. I was into it for a couple of years, dude. I was liking
it.
I was liking it. I mean, it's not a bad game, but
you're trying to proselytize me.
I did for a while. I tried to pull you in. Didn't I buy you the player's
handbook? You got to play 5e. You and other folks. No.
You played. No. You did it kicking and screaming though.
Yeah, I played, but I only bought the one book, and I didn't ever. I was, if you guys want to play, I guess I'll play too.
Yeah, well, you've got another game. I think Joe would agree with this, Darth. He goes, I feel that 5e is a game with training wheels on it, so nobody gets hurt. Yeah, a little bit.
Like a lot of modern games, they have lots of safety nets for players.
But people who like that are fine. In 13th Age, that's one of the games we like. It's got a lot of safety nets.
Yeah.
But it's also, you're meant to be the big damn hero on 13th Age. They're not playing around. They say that up front.
Right. They've picked you to win as part of the core of the game.
Which, we're going to play a lot of 13th Age this weekend because I'm going to run it. But I do it because it's an easy prep. And I enjoy the game. I do. It's fun. Campaign-wise, wears on me. I'm going to do a Cabin Con campaign, but playing in a regular weekly campaign doesn't interest me that much, and even less so 5th edition. Anyway, so we're getting off topic, which is fun. Let's move on to the next part. How about the ecology and influence of the monsters in the campaign world? How best to use them?
I'm glad you're bringing this up because I just want to make one note.
Yeah.
I can see some use when you're saying you like your campaign world to make some sense, and I don't think you don't need to determine how much of each monster and how all of their interactions are.
Right.
You can pick a few monsters to use. You don't even have to know all the different monsters that are currently occupying your campaign world at any one time. You can hit the highlights. Make a couple of this is how these things react or interact, but you don't have to get too far into the weeds or into the minutia to have that sense of things fitting together. Kind of the less is more thing.
Yeah, I think that's true. And like I said, my favorite of the humanoids have always been gnolls. I think I like their simplicity. I like them being lazy too. I just always picture them hanging around, not doing much, and having slaves do all their work. And they're the kind of humanoids you just want to hate, man. Your players will hate them, and they're easy to just kill because they are rapacious. And they worship demons. I mean, they're hideous creatures. Just kill them. You see a gnoll, kill it. And that's a great kind of foe to have. I think they're classic dangers for bands of travelers, small villages, or larger settlements if you have huge groups of them.
Right. And you don't often have to always even parlay, because if the setup for the encounter is you're getting ambushed by a bunch of whatever, it doesn't matter what they are. If they're ambushing you, they need a few inches of steel going through their face.
Absolutely. I like Flady's comment. Gnolls are land pirates. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I think they're kind of a staple in the world. I call them workhorses because you're going to run into them a lot. They're going to be used by wizards. They're going to be used by bad guys doing stuff all the time. They're going to be there.
Yeah. They will take over their tribe and direct them.
Yeah. And the orcs, if the orcs are real prolific at, reproducing, I mean, then Sauron loves it. And he can use them to overtake the world. Yeah. I absolutely like them. But
and even if not the world, just a region.
Sure. Just make the world miserable. What was that book by Was it Greenwood that did something about 1,000 orcs with grits? No, that wasn't Greenwood. That's Salvatore. That's this orc horde. It was about an orc horde coming down, and they had a big, powerful half orc or orc leader. That was kind of cool. It's always a good story. All right,
I've
people
read
like
several
gnolls.
fantasy novels where the impending doom, or the thing that they were always on the lookout for, is somebody taking on the mantle of the orc leader, right? The band of barbaric orcs, or an individual who could unite all the orc tribes, or even organize the orcs. Even if there's just one tribe, usually they're just kind of, they don't have much of a purpose unless they can have a strong leader. And then I'm trying to remember, there's a few different fantasy series I've read where that is one of the things that they are on the lookout for. So even with having lots of orcs, they're kind of chaotic.
Yeah.
Unless they have a strong leader like a wizard, banding them together and setting them on a task.
Check it out,
Ryan.
David. Check it out, dude. Wearing it loud and proud. If you had to rank, if you had let's see here. Hold on for a second. Max says one of his dudes he's gaming with over at, oh gosh, which place was it, Max? Let me go back. One of GM's Alcove playing Pathfinder 2, been play testing 13th Age. I told him, since they have some sensitivity readers, I'm out on 13th Age 2nd edition.
Mm-hmm.
He said after he called me a misogynist, he may be one of those sensitivity readers. A little sensitive, is he? Yeah. Oh, good, Ryan. You're same. Yeah, very cool. It's a nice shirt. You know, wear it at the Cabin Con too. I'm trying to push the guys to buy some. So, Joe, if I cornered you and got you in an arm lock, and I said, "What's your favorite of the humanoids I have listed there?"
Birthday cake is much needed.
What do you think would be? What would you say your favorite? Just the ones we've talked about. The three goblinoids: goblin, bugbear, hobgoblin, orc, gnoll, and kobolds. How would you rank them?
Probably orcs.
You like orcs, like the standard orcs?
Yeah.
I could probably rank mine in order for sure. 1, 2, 3 would be gnoll, hobgoblin, orcs. I like the gnolls because they're just crazy demon worshippers. I like the hobgoblins because it's the opposite reason. They're organized, militaristic. I see them as they could be more intelligent. They could be more dangerous. They lead them. And then I like the orcs because I always imagine orcs being very, what's the word? Fecund. Fecundity is that fecund is where you have a lot of, you can reproduce really well. Is that the word I'm thinking of? I'm going to look that up. I think it's called fecund. Anyway.
Virile.
Yeah, virile.
I think if I was going to choose out of these, I would have orc and goblin and not worry about the rest. If I need a humanoid with weird abilities, you just make one of them a shaman or witch doctor. Also problematic, but I don't care. I like those.
Yeah. People in the chat, put your list in there too. I'd love to see it. Mr. Boban's liking goblins, orcs, gnolls, maybe in that order. But yeah. So yeah, I think they're great core. Do you recall any times where we used them, Joe, particularly that are that we used in the game and you thought were really cool? Anything that calls out other than just generic time? I have a couple, but
well, you go ahead. I've seen them used so many times. I can't really pick out one in particular.
I did use gnolls as the main antagonist in a short-lived 3.0 campaign. It lasted about levels 1 to 10. I had gnoll spell. It was early 3.0, so I was fascinated by the ways how they made the game where you could just level up. It wasn't just a shaman, but you could give him 8 wizard levels, and he was a main bad guy, head of this gnoll tribe that was growing in the region. And all sorts of gnoll related challenges, and demon worshiping was really, really cool. It had a bit of a Russian theme. They thought they were after a wizard named, the land was called Magria, it was my own campaign world, and they thought they were after a wizard named Rasputin, and it was this gnoll guy who was just acting like he was making people believe he was he was a human. He could cast illusions. It was pretty fun. So he was a very smart gnoll, but they ended up killing him all and taking his stuff. So it was cool.
Well, yeah, well, that's what you're supposed to do with these humanoids.
Yeah.
Kill them and take their stuff, because usually they have a bunch of stuff they rob people of, and you can either return it or keep it.
I seem to use hobgoblins more, but I still like gnolls a lot. A little crude one. We had a goblin one time. Joe might have been a part of this. Remember when the guys
Pet goblin?
And they called him Shit the Goblin?
Yeah.
That was his name, was Poop. And at first, you guys, you were just using as a trap catcher, and being a goblin, you thought he'd be dead. He kept surviving, and after a while, they took a liking to him, and they kept him for years in the campaign world. That was that half ogre character that Ryan had that lived forever, Grendel and Han. And dude, they had that goblin for a long time. He eventually died in the trap, though. But he was evil as heck. He never was domesticated, but they were 7th, 8th level fighters. What's he going to do? I mean,
that was in the group where you decided to purposefully be super duper stingy, and I think we were 4th level before we saw our first potion.
Correct. That doesn't sound stingy. That sounds about right. Isn't that what the game suggests?
That's the game in your head. But I think soon after, I wasn't around for a lot of that, because I think I went to Germany soon after that situation.
I'm trying to respond to Malachi.
You can do that with your mouth.
Oh, okay. I'll do both. Malachi says, well, it pays to wear a D&D shirt. Through my local gas station, I found out there's a D&D group in my town. I told him, go get them. Join them if they do not sparkle, like this troll.
Yeah.
If they sparkle.
Indeedy.
Get another group. So you can't think of any. Okay. Did you have any alternate takes for us? How these humanoids might be used in a different sort of way? I got a couple, but I don't know if you had any to think about. I
know over the years, they've been used in so many different ways. Can you really come up with something unique?
I have to agree that was hard to come up with.
Huh?
I agree that was hard to come up with.
Because, they've got, they've all been made PCs of one sort or another. They've been subverted in a number of different ways so that they're no longer essentially evil. I mean, I think there were even psionic versions of a few of these back in the day.
Yeah. I'm going to show Mr. Boivin had one, kind of a funny one a while back, but first I'm going to show mine.
There was the reverse orc, wasn't there?
No. The Nilbog was the
goblin, the reverse goblin. You hit it and it healed it.
Right. You had to cast it. Yeah. Once you learned that was done, because he had like 4 hit points, so you'd kill him with you. I thought about, what about a world where the humanoids, pick your favorite, have overrun nearly all the world? They rampage and pillage so much that resources are growing scarce. Their proliferation is causing a global threat. The PCs must grow strong enough to eradicate them. The whole race. A genocide campaign. You probably like that. With orcs.
Well, sure. Why not? They're evil. Inherently.
You could have a world kind of like LOTR where you basically have one type. I mean, I know they talked about goblins and orcs, but they were essentially the same sort of creature.
Well, they were same sort, but the goblins were weaker, and the orcs were a little stronger. Then you had the Uruk-hai, which were stronger yet.
Yeah, they were basically goblinoids. They were all goblins.
Yeah, but they were all descended from the same process, pretty much.
Oh, yeah. Mr. Boivin back at 8 something had a great one. He said, have a setting where the humans have been convinced to treat the orcs as equal. So they let them in their cities, and now they have violence and looting epidemic. And he follows it up, but they have to pretend that nothing happens because they don't want to be seen as racist.
Well,
what about
I'm not sure. That sounds familiar.
I think it's been done.
Like I've heard that somewhere.
I think it's been done before. Oh, people, Malachi's shooting out Nilbogs. 3-5 had psionic humanoids. I was over there on the other page. I missed it. Victor. Is that Victor Gorchev? Identifies as a sparkle troll, and I would game with him. Right on. Good job, Mr. Boivan. I definitely liked him.
Protland.
What's that?
This place that Mr. Max is inventing will be called Protland.
What does that stand for? I don't get it. I'm slow.
There's a couple of letters that were reversed. Portland.
Oh, okay. I was slow on the uptake. Okay. Yeah. Darth Thieg did the eradication campaign. He said, I ran a game that told the Great War in Dark Sun, and I had my party eradicate the goblins, orcs, and trolls before the game ended. Right on. Eradicate those SOBs. That's what I say.
Yeah, because they spread like rabbits.
Yeah, they're virus. They're just a virus. Finish them. I'm mostly good with that. All right. Anything else about humanoids, or have we kind of run the gamut?
I mean, it's probably been done, but you could, without bringing in the genocide element, you could just have a world where humanoids are the majority and humans are the minority, and you have to navigate that. So, and without changing their essence, so they could be all evil, and then there's lots of ruins of human cities, and you leave it up to the PCs to decide how far they're going to carry it. Maybe they just carve out a settlement of whatever size. It could be just a village. Probably would need to be bigger. And then this is where humans are at. And then they just have to deal with the occasional, uppity humanoids that want to come wipe them out.
And what if, as the players level up, they get caught into the big secret? What if humans can't reproduce? What if there's it's hard to get pregnant as a human, right? It's just difficult. And they eventually find out there was a war in which, or it's a curse brought down by Grumsh or some humanoid god that cursed the humans, and they got to lift that curse. Yeah. Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, it's a little take on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't think of that, but that's probably, same kind of deal.
Martinson loves.
Except in Planet of the Apes, the ape men or whatever I don't know what they call themselves. They ended up being as smart or at least as smart as humans.
Dude, speaking of that, I'm sorry, go ahead.
But in what I'm talking about, you don't change orcs' essential characteristics, right? So orcs are still dumb.
Yeah.
But because it's more of a numbers thing.
Yes.
So yeah, you could say that human reproduction has faltered for some reason. I mean, in a medieval setting, birth rates are low anyway. But in a fantasy medieval setting, we don't worry about that.
Yeah. This is a side note. Hobgoblins could speak the language of carnivorous apes in first edition D&D. How's that for weird? Hobgoblins could. How's that for weird? Carnivorous apes.
Okay. Carnivorous apes aren't apes carnivorous? No, not really.
Omnivorous. I think they tend toward fruit and veggies, though.
Well, that's because that's what's in their area. But they'll eat meat if they have to.
And their own poop. They'll eat
that. Sure. Well, I think they throw it more than eat it.
They eat it too. Bruce says, Randy, you never played in the old Green Races 3.0 campaign? I did not, but I remember it. Really, it was Jim Ward's baby. It should have been aborted. Yeah. Jim Ward, he made a few things in the early 3.0 that was kind of straight up.
Well, a lot of people did. When the OGL first came out, the 3.0, there was a lot of junk that came out in the early.
Yes, there was. And I bought a ton of it.
I did. I bought some of it.
I was a victim, dude. I was their perfect person.
I've got these really small adventures.
Yeah, the little are they like
pamphlet size?
Yeah, I have those too. Some of those aren't bad. Those aren't bad. Right. Mr. Boivan says, hard for humans to get pregnant. That's in my setting, unless it's with an orc. Should we try to preserve humanity through the half orcs, or does that not even count? Oh, Mr. Elliot, watch it with your logic. So, a world where many identify as female, that biological females disappeared. Oh no.
Hey, you just froze.
Patty,
Is your laptop plugged in?
mine? Yeah,
I mean, is it plugged into your
hardwired.
network?
Yeah, what's
Okay.
up? What's up?
You froze for a second.
No, impossible,
Yeah.
inconceivable. Patty's heading out. Later, bro.
See
We are
you
going to
later,
have
Patty.
fun. You need to be there sometime. All right. Let's move on then. You want to tell them to do the things again?
Yeah, do things. Subscribe. Let me
Aye.
get this thing up here. Subscribe. Do the other things too. Get your thumbs up, your notification bell, all that stuff.
Hey,
Hopefully,
go ahead.
your subscription has held.
Yeah.
Let's see, and then YouTube didn't go and squish it for some reason.
It's so
I'm
weird.
gonna look and see here. What were you gonna say, Randy?
I was just going to say that nothing.
You're gonna say just nothing.
I want to say nothing to somebody. All right.
Okey-doke.
So,
Yes, do all that stuff. Keep us going.
yeah, we like the stuff that you do. Oh, I remember I was going to ask you now. Where are we at in subscriber count? I know we broke 400 last week.
Yeah, 409.
More subscribers, and I'll give away
So
that
it's a steady, slow but steady upward climb.
You know what? Let me remind people. This is kind of off the cuff, but I think it needs to be seen to really appreciate again.
Okay. For the 500 giveaway.
Yeah, I've mentioned this for a while, just like in passing. I haven't really mentioned it, but I'm telling you guys, it crossed my mind not to give this away. This Paranoia, I got this for a song, people. West End Games, second
Paranoia.
edition, and I got this like $10 at some either like some sort of, I don't know, flea market or something. But it's got so much stuff, the DM screen and the game, and then it's got all these extra PCs, and then it's got a form pack. Dude, this thing is full of forms. I don't know if that comes with the normal game. I thought there's extras. And then there's little miniatures that are not cut out. Black and white and color minis. That's the black and white one. And they even have these little. Oh, these are not. I don't know what this is for. I thought it was segmented to hold the minis, but it doesn't seem. Oh, maybe you got to cut it.
Hey, hey. You just didn't show. You were meaning to show us what you had in your hand. There you go.
It was meant to hold the little minis, I think, and you must cut it. I don't see it's not serrated anywhere. Yeah, Martinson says yard sale. That's where it was, a flea market or yard sale. I got it for like $10, dude. Legion of Myth says he already has it. Did it come with all the crap? Is that just the core box set? Because I thought it was extra stuff. It's crazy how many forms are in here. And then all the minis and stuff. I felt like it was something extra, but maybe it's just the second edition box set, booklets and everything. So it was cool. I would definitely say we need to get the message out more. That's what Rambler says. Get people putting that in there. So that's going to be sweet. 500 giveaway. That is quite a deal. I think it's worth like $5 million. That or $20. I can't remember what it's worth.
Right. So is that the? I'm sure that's not the first edition of Paranoia.
Second edition, and Max at Legion of Myth says it does come with a ton of stuff. So yeah.
Okay. So that's
the
second edition.
Second edition, yeah.
Second edition. Okay.
Yeah, which I don't know how that West End Games. I don't know if they're still making it. I know there's 3 or 4 editions now, but dude, this is sweet. So anyway,
that looks like a great. It'll cost a chunk to mail. I think
that's all right. Our people
it's printed material. You may be able to just send it media mail.
Randy says, "How much is that Paranoia worth to you?"
500 subscribers.
500. Yes, right on. What Joe said. 500 subscribers. Rambler says $20 to $5 million is a bit of a broad range. Yeah. I've been watching this auction site on Facebook of old RPG stuff. There was something on there recently that went for over $5,000. I couldn't believe it. Some old module. Yeah.
Mr. Max is asking me if I can get a deal. No, they do not. They do not give mail carriers discounts.
Could you just like take it and kind of just slide it in the mail? No, because it'd get lost. You got to buy postage, so it wouldn't do any good. Oh well. What's the use of being friends with the mailman? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
What's the use? Well, we were friends before I was a mailman, so shut up.
Okay, I'll shut up. Oh, Bruce wants it, dude. He wants to know how much it is. Yeah, all right, dude. I really want to give it away. It's too good of a 500 giveaway, man. I'm not sure if I would. If no one wants it for the 500 giveaway, then I'll let Bruce buy it, or I may just send it to him. It doesn't monetarily. It means little to nothing to me, dude. So, all right, let's talk about cabin car.
Have you looked it up on eBay?
Oh no, let me do that real quick.
That'll tell you something. Something close.
Yeah, I just eBayed that crap.
Because you can look up what's sold too. You don't have to,
Sold. That's already been sold. Looks like for over $100. No, that's got a couple of extra things in there, plus 3 books, a lot West End games. Paranoia accessory pack for 2nd edition. Wow. GMs, that's what's in this. I have the West End Games accessory pack that's unpunched going for $50. You guys with better Google foo. 2nd edition Paranoia boxed set. I'm double checking that through their search engine. $130 is one is starting, $59 one is starting with bids. That's the bidded. You could bid for it. Buy it now. No, that's a different edition. Looks like it's actually one of the more $125. Yeah, so it's probably a $75 book.
Well, a box set with that much stuff in it today, if someone put out a box set with that much stuff in it, it would be at least $100.
Boisvan, if you weren't so tough, your friend with the mailman, so you can keep an eye on your wife while you're at work. Something like that, he says. I was subscribed to your channel.
Sounds like you need to unsubscribe.
Sounds like I need to. No, dude, this is getting better. Boisvan is just starting to hit his stride, dude. Keep on doing, son. That's good. So
yeah, you guys need to go over there to Reactionary Principle Gaming, Legion of Myth, Bruce Lombardo.
Mm-hmm.
Who else on here? Does Rambler have his own YouTube?
He might. And the guy that was here earlier, what was his name? Oh, Ryan Howard too.
Ryan David.
Of course. Yeah, and Ryan Howard for Rolling Bones.
Rolling Bones was here. Yeah, go check out all those folks.
Good guys. A lot of good guys, man. I still maintain at some point in the next year or two, we need to have a YouTube, our little corner of the YouTube. We need to have a get together. That'd be awesome. Be fun.
Well, we can do it this year.
Yeah, Big Geek Con. Settled.
Yeah, come to Big Geek Con.
It's settled. Everybody come. So, all right. Let's get on to Cabin Con because it is upon us. Oh! Friday Night Chill Stream is going to start with how to run games for kids. I've done that. If you do or have, I may want you on the show. I would love to. This is for everybody. I've run games for kids, but this Friday I'll be busy. I'll be cabin conning. So that should be a good show.
Yeah, I just figure you stick them in a closet.
Oh, Bruce, I've been thinking about this too. Actually, today, after I listened to Nerd Cognito and their episode on the Pinkertons on the coast, this got me thinking about Rumble again, Joe. He said, start a Rumble account. All of you. This is Bruce Lombardo. I did a stream with Janet on Sunday and curse word. We hit 300 hits and views on it.
Okay, well, I'll see about that. Streaming from Cabin Con may not be possible. It's going to depend on how the internet is after we have one of our friends go out there and tinker with it. Yeah. In cabin cons past, we've not had good enough internet there to stream. About the best we can probably do, or given our past experience, the best we can hope for is to record something and then post it while we're there. But streaming from there is going to be problematic. I'm not sure, Rambler, what good resources there are for writing games for kids. I know that there's several folks within our reach that have talked about running games for kids. One of the fellows on here, David Gwill, he runs games for his kids and his wife exclusively. So he would be a good resource to talk to about it.
I've run games for my little cousins since they were like 6 and 7.
Right. Randy's done it a lot.
Every year at the reunion. Now they're full. They're married and adults, but I've run for little kids. I have my own little hints that I would suggest, things I would say. Monty Cook does have a book on something about kids, but I wouldn't trust that. That'd probably be something dumb. But maybe not. He might have good advice there. I think if Shannon Germain had something to do with it, I'd be nervous. But,
oh, sure. They probably say it'd be okay to have drag shows for your kids, too.
Mr. Bohan. Hero Kids. Yeah, okay. That's not by Cook, is it, Legion? Surely not. Hero Kids could not be by Monty Cook. I've heard of Hero Kids before. Hero Forge Games. Okay, cool. All right. All right. So anyway, Cabin Con's upon us. I got 2 13th Age games. One is going to be wrapping up in another year or two a campaign called Nemiel's Hope. And then I'm going to do one that I'm going to make. This is kind of, I don't want to call it a counter to Elysium, but I kind of think of it as a counter to Elysium. My first level 13th Age game, I'm going to have a couple of rules in the campaign. Basically, you can only level at Cabin Con. That's it. And you level every 3 sessions.
So you could have 3 sessions at a particular con.
Yep.
Yeah.
Other than that, the DMs can do what they want. They can give whatever gear they want. There's no limits. And I'm just saying, you run. If I wanted to run a first level game this year and next year and the year after, and people want to play in it, great. Joe says, hey, I want to run a 5th level game. Go ahead. The only shared part is we're going to use the Dragon Empire, and it's going to be real loose and just try to let characters, we're going to kind of hand wave a lot of stuff and let characters be who they are, go where they want, and not worry about consistency too much.
Yeah, the Dragon Empire has a lot of different parts to it, so you can probably run any kind of fantasy campaign in that without any issues.
And my adventure my adventure in Cabin Con for first level is going to be in one particular area, so something different that I've never run before, and it's pretty standard fare. It's near the Queenswood, so elviness could be nearby, but it doesn't have to be. You're not like right up on it. That was it. No, thank you, Evil. That was for Monty Cook. Yeah, thanks, Malachi.
No, thank you, Evil.
Yeah.
Milk toast.
Petrodemo, no limits on awards or gear. We've seen how that goes. Absolutely not. I told you the 2 rules, buddy. The 2 rules are only level at Cabin Con and every 3 sessions, and you keep track.
And it's 13th Age. You have built-in limits.
Yeah. Yeah, but you're pretty boss, dude.
Yeah, but
handling yourself.
I don't think gear is a problem in 13th Age.
No, give it or don't.
No.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
One of our buddies, Dave would disagree, but I don't think it's a big deal. I think you could be a 10th level character with nothing, and you're still pretty boss.
You are.
Yeah.
I don't think that's any different from any other high-level adventurer.
No. I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to run my 7th level game, which is not as many people haven't played in it. Joe has. He knows the egg. It's called the Egg Campaign. That's just the phrase. It could have a cool epic ending at the end. That could be fun. And then I'm going to run a Deadlands. I'm going to call it a mega adventure because it's an actual module that I've modified. And I've added another adventure sort of at the front of it, a short one. So it could be a session and a half. I think it could easily be 5 hours. It might even be 6 or 7. So I'm going to run that a couple of times. Pre-gens will be available for all my games, or you can make your own. So I would hope people make their own before the con, though, or at least before they play in the campaign, because I don't want to sit and wait. I mean, first level 13th age is no problem, but anything else is going to take a minute. Well, but you, Joseph, what you doing? What you got ready for them?
I'm playing. I've got a bag with some dice in it and some pencils.
Sweet.
And I'll bring my 13th age book. I'm not sure what else I should bring book wise.
I'm bringing my 13th age book and my Savage Worlds book and probably the Deadlands book, and the rest is going to be PDFs on my iPad that I own. But it's just better to do that. It's less to carry around.
Oh, and I have a laptop again, so I may go that route too.
Yeah.
In the last few cabin cons, I haven't had a laptop because mine, had a meltdown. But I'll probably load up my PDFs on my laptop, so I'll at least have access to them.
Did you watch? Did you find Brock the Bloody? Is he ready to go?
Oh, he's in my clipboard.
All right. He never left the clipboard. All right.
Yeah, not really.
Yeah, Joe's Brock the Bloody is pretty cool. In 13th age, you have what's called a one unique thing about your character. Don't worry, it's not a power thing. It's got to be kind of a cool, flavorful thing. And Joe's is whenever he gets in a battle, no matter how little or how massive, he always ends up bloody.
Gore. Covered in gore.
Covered in gore, which is funny.
Yeah.
We usually laugh about there'll be some small encounter. You guys will wipe it up fast, and Brock gets to swing one sword. He's just covered in blood. It's hilarious.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm coming to play. I'm going to try to have something sandboxy ready.
Yeah.
I'm off tomorrow, so I have all day. I have a decent amount of time that I can probably get something together. We also have some stuff worked out for what was that we really dropped the ball on?
Dungeon 23. Yeah, we dropped the ball.
Dungeon 23. I made quite a few things for it, but I'm not caught up for the year.
You can use my stuff too if you want to.
Yeah, so that's pretty well laid out and can use that. But in its system agnostic, so we could just do run essentials through that, or even any version of a D20 game,
sure,
or even 13th age.
Sure.
Easy.
Larry Elliott, bring your third level 13th age characters from last year. He's got a mini campaign he's doing. Who else? Martinson's doing G.I. Joe. House
Larry?
Yeah.
Why so bossy?
Dude.
That's so bossy. You could have said please.
He DMs a couple of times and he gets an attitude like me.
Yeah. Look at him.
He needs to hold off on that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm the dude.
Relax your crack, Foghorn.
I know Martinson's running G.I. Joe. Halcyon H has got, I think he's doing G.I. Joe, and I don't know what else if he's around. Tim Scott's doing Blade Runner and probably Palladium First Edition Fantasy. What else do I know of? Oh, the D12 guys are coming.
Yeah.
Horde Wars. They're going to be running that stuff all weekend. Bruce says he's still for his Hex 23. Good job. Bruce is not.
I thought about maybe doing riffs.
Oh,
but I didn't study up, and you really need to know what you're doing.
You do. I thought about adding a riff. I got another game I won't announce that I may bring, and it'll be a Savage Worlds, but a little off the cuff. So, Martinson, someone's also doing Warhammer 40K and Fallout. Is that? Oh, for Halcyon H. Okay, thanks. Fleddy asks, is anyone doing Shadowrun? I don't think so. Not at Cabin Con. I don't know if Patrick Demo's running anything. He's not told me yet. Who else do I know of that's running games? Dave Adrian's going to run a 13th age game. We're going to have plenty of 13th age, a 7th level one. So Brock could get in on that too.
Cool.
Trying to think what else.
Oh, I could. Well, your 13th age deal is first session, right?
First session right off the bat Thursday, yeah. 9 a.m.
Bringing the power.
Bringing the pain.
Brock will be bringing the pain.
He'll be bleeding profusely.
He'll be bleeding too. Or at least he'll be bleeding. He may not be bleeding his own blood, though.
No, could be bleeding somebody else's blood.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we do. We have a pretty sweet game lineup. It's pretty nice. Pretty nice. Crafting Gamer says, is anybody running any pirate campaigns? Not to my knowledge.
Not that I've heard.
Yeah. Oh, and it sucks about Dave. Big Dave's got to leave on Friday.
Wow.
Dude, he ended up, he did a thing with he sings in that group, and they have a big concert Friday and 2 on Saturday. Sucks. Yeah.
He does not have his priorities straight.
I think he just got it confused, and he'd paid money for it. I guess it's a thing. I know. You would think he would just say, screw you guys. You can sing without me. You don't need me. But no, that's cool. So I'm running 13th Age the first day. I'm running 13 Days the second day. And then at some point, I want to be doing my Deadlands. I do plan on offering up a game Sunday afternoon again.
Are you running 3 sessions? Are you running 3 sessions of 13th Age?
I'm running
the 7th level character can jump in and
2 sessions for 7th level, 2 sessions, 2 or more sessions for 1st level. And
you cheap bastard.
Why?
It's in now the character's not guaranteed if he makes all 3 of those to be able to pop to 8th. But you get into Dave Adrian's thing.
No, that's more for it. And that's a separate campaign. The egg campaign, you will pop. You guys level every cabin con. I'm talking a new campaign will be a little bit different. I just thought I would add it in. Sounds like Patrick says for Dave, it kept getting rescheduled. The final date fell on this weekend. So he was. Yeah. I would tell them to sing by themselves. That was me.
Yeah.
Figured out.
If you want me there, you'll reschedule it to some other weekend.
Yes. But I don't know. Dave's got commitments everywhere, so I understand. It is what it is.
Yeah.
It's sad. Sad but true. You bringing anything else? Is anybody bringing any cool board games? I'm asking out to our stream guys, the chat people.
I would bring can't remember the name of it now. I haven't played it in so long.
Munchkin?
I would bring Munchkin, but nobody ever wants to play anymore.
That's sad. I thought about bringing Talisman just so Jeff could play. He would love it.
If you're playing, yeah, that would.
Well, you and I we're bunking in the same cabin. Maybe you bring it. I'll play. I haven't played nothing for years. So
it's been years because
bring the basic game. Don't bring all the super expansions. Just bring something basic because I haven't played in forever.
Well, the thing is they're just cards. So I have them all mixed up in a card box, and they'll just Yeah, it's just a fun game. Like Legion saying, playing drunk. I don't drink, but a lot of people do, and it'd be fine for that. It's a beer and pretzels game.
Yeah, it'd be fine for the drinkage.
It's nothing serious. It can, if you have too many. I think if you have too many people playing, it can go on for too long. But you can always just stop playing. It's no big deal.
But Patrick says he does have the biggest variety of board games, and I get it. We're not much of board gamers at Cabin Con. We play more regular games, but are you going to run an RPG of some sort? Patrick could run Shadowrun. Lady asked about that. Patrick Demo's got the Shadowrun skills. Run the old version. Run 2nd edition. I have that book.
Now, can you run Shadowrun? Okay, D&D is known for being able to do sandboxy, off the cuff.
Yeah.
Just have a bunch of random tables and you can throw a game together and play. No big deal.
Yeah.
But can you do that with Shadowrun?
Probably people that are really good at it. I find anything outside of fantasy, it's hard for me to wing. Like Deadlands, I prepared a lot for this Deadlands game. So, yeah, I'm going to try to watch. What channel? Anybody out there know the Deadwood TV series? Was that? Patrick says yes. I think that means he's going to be bringing his own special game that he's working on. So his RPG.
Yes to what?
I asked him if he's going to be running any RPGs. He said yes.
Yeah, and I also asked if Shadowrun can be run off the cuff randomly.
Oh,
so I'm wondering which yes is
we
that?
We don't know his yes. He says he did it for years, run off the cuff. Okay, I don't know it well enough. So, um,
Swarjan Cork Suka. Okay, whatever that is.
I don't know what that is. Yeah, running Shadowrun off the cuff. So answer
Okay,
the
cool.
question, Patrick. Are you running a RPG or not? Are we going to see Patrick Demo actually DM this year? Because if not, I have a job for you. I'll tell you later. Don't want to tell you. I'm not going to tell you on air. So, got something will keep you working hard. Art slave has nothing to do with art though. Well, it kind of does. Yeah, Patrick's got my art done. We're square on that, and I got to get that put together. I got to get my dang thing done.
If I knew Rifts well enough to run, I would run that sandboxy.
Oh, that would
I
be
want your characters to have a few levels under their belt for that because of how dangerous the Rifts environment is. But that's what I would do. That's what I would like to do. I wouldn't get into the lore of how they have a timeline. I wouldn't get involved in the timeline.
okay.
Just be out doing stuff.
I was asking whether Deadwood was a Showtime or HBO show.
Oh, I don't know.
Dar says, I would think that any game could be run off the cuff. It just requires you know the system. It's not the system I have a problem with. It's the genre. I have to get in a frame of mind when I'm running a Weird West game. Martin says, this KHBO. You know, I do have a thing called a computer.
Yes, Google is your friend. Well, not really.
Yeah.
It's more like frenemy.
An American Western. HBO, right on. I can watch it. So I think I'm going to watch some of that tomorrow and get in the mood. So I'm excited about my Deadlands game and 13 Days. All three of them I'm quite happy with. So I'm hoping to actually kill a character in one of the 13 Days games. I'm going to try. I'm going to try to kill somebody. I want one character to
you can just do a palm slap from the gods, slap you down.
I'd like to kill them without doing that, but if I get desperate on Sunday, I may do that.
Or
palm slap on Sunday. Palm Sunday. Palm Sunday.
Or just have a bunch of owlbears ripping arms off.
That's a great power of owlbears in that game.
Yeah.
Peck and rip or something. Rip and peck. It's pretty sweet power. That's good.
And we're 7th level. I think owlbears, are they?
You would annihilate an owlbear in your sleep. They're foes for about 2nd and 3rd level characters.
Oh. Well, there's like 15 of them.
Well, I could also, but the great thing about 13 Days is they have a table for monsters.
Yeah,
I can soup it up.
Make it owlbear. Have about 6 or 8 of them, make them 4th or 5th level wreckers, and then we'll be good.
About 6 or 8 colossal 10th level wreckers. That sounds good. That should be good. 400 damage.
Good to run from.
Yeah. All right. So are you pumped though, dude? I'm ready to do this thing. I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But you know me, I'm even keeled. I don't get.
I know. I gotta. This dude. He needs me to get him pumped up. To pump you up.
You up. Yeah.
Okay. But anyway, oh well. CabinCon's coming. Can't wait. It's gonna be awesome. All right. So, any other? We talked about Big Geek Emporium a little bit, and do we need to talk about Big Geek Con again? Probably should mention.
Yeah. I'll repeat what I said earlier because we have more people.
Yeah.
Or different people. So the tickets are going to be sold through instead of BGE, they're going to be on tabletop events, but we'll have a link through BGE to get there as soon as I have it all set up. Mainly because we would need to have some need to add to the load of the devs that I don't want to do. So they've already got their things that they're doing. So we're going to do that through tabletop events, and the tickets will be available hopefully within a week, maybe 2 at most. And then we can start rolling in that sweet convention dough. I mean, we can start planning for the convention better. Oh, and my wife said she wants to help out some kind of way. So
good, because we would need the help.
Yeah.
Yes. At Legion.
So if we get 10 or more folks staying at the hotel, is that what the discount
Correct. 10
is?
more
If
people,
we get 10 or more out-of-towners staying at the nearby hotel,
it'll double our space.
right? So that will be a nice boost for us. And it's not expensive to go, but it might be expensive. It's not expensive to attend, but it might be expensive to go depending on where
Right.
you're at. It's only a $30 ticket. Randy insisted on it being discounted.
Absolutely.
Discount rate.
I want it cheap. I think our first con going to be, if someone, if he goes, man, they didn't run that very efficiently, I'd be like, dude, it was $30. That's what I want to be able to say. But we'll get,
Right.
I think it'll be good. I've done Cabin Con for 17 years. I have an idea of how to organize things. This is a bigger endeavor. I'm going to talk to some people. I need to send some emails out. You can get a discounted rate of $126 at the 4 Points by Sheraton. That'll probably be on the website very soon, I hope. In Saginaw, it's $114 for double queen. And it's Friday and Saturday, September 22nd and 23rd. Right.
10 or more rooms.
Not
Right.
10. Right.
I mean, the other way to get a discount on your room is to share it with folks.
Deb and I are going to purchase a room ourselves. We're going to take them. Flady says they got 2 rooms. Said with him and his brother. Right on, brother. That's good. That's 3 rooms because I want to get one too. So that'll be cool. And who knows? $30 per badge, $30 for the whole weekend. I mean, you can't. I've never been.
Can't beat that. How much is Gen Con?
Oh gosh, I bet it's 130, 120. Patrick, is Gen Con? I bet Gen Con.
I mean, not that we have anything to compare because we don't have events. We don't have special guests. It's just gaming. We don't have a vendor area. We're probably not going to have cosplayers. Thankfully,
please
I mean, we're not going to have the
sexed up ones.
Nearly nude cosplayers. They will get kicked out.
Yeah, we're not doing that. Yep. But it should be good. Gen Con tickets are. I mean, last I went was over $100. I remember when I first started in '96. I want to say it was like $40 for the weekend, $50 for the weekend. Now it's more than double that. So Patrick could tell me the exact price. So yeah, it's just, but like I said, this is a different con. This is a little local con in Michigan. We're hoping it'll become something more. We actually I'm hoping we have a good time. I'm sure we'll have a good time with the Horde Wars guys. I got it. Your exhibit, that doesn't count. He said it was $2,100 for the weekend. I got it, Patrick. But how much for just a regular badge? Any idea? Probably can't get one now.
Probably not. But I mean,
135.
135. So we're $30 for just gaming.
Yeah. Yep.
We might be able to, in subsequent years, come up with events and stuff that makes sense for us. But right now, the only thing that makes sense is gaming.
Yeah. Malachi asked, does someone in a squirrel mask count as a cosplayer? I can't imagine someone doing that. Can you, Joe?
I imagine we have someone who may want to do that. But we're, like I said, it's family friendly. Cosplay is fine.
Yeah. Yeah. If you want to dress as Captain America, that's cool. You just don't be like super naked Power Girl. But yeah, so Gen Con is a different experience. It's quite the event, and it's a little different than just a convention. But this one will be fun. We'll have lots of games offered. We'll get those. I'm not sure how much we'll report how many there are, but I'm sure I'll talk about them. Yeah, right, Flady. People, tables, chairs, and dice. We're good. Correct.
Yeah,
that's
what we're figuring.
That's how we do. So tickets are now going to be sold differently. We talked about that. I think that's all I got as far as Big Geek Land. Anything else for you, or Joe? Anything else?
I don't think so. I think we're good.
Okay. If you like to support our show, please like, subscribe, and share us where you are listening or viewing. We're on all the socials, videos, and podcasts. Joe does Twitter. Randy doesn't because he finds it horrible. Joe that's where his even kill pays off. Randy would be, I wouldn't say violent, but hyper aggravated and say probably mean stuff. Cash support we would appreciate. You can get it through PayPal, Streamlabs, Ko-Fi, Patreon even. We're also on Anchor. I think we still got an Anchor page.
Yeah. Okay. We got an Anchor page, but we shouldn't mention Anchor anymore because you can't do donations through there anymore.
Oh, so skip Anchor. All right. So Ko-Fi,
Patreon. They got absorbed by Spotify.
Our website's biggestgeekispodcast.com. You can email us at thegeeks@biggestgeekispodcast.com. We should make a Discord page for Big Geek Con. I agree.
We have a Discord.
Do we have a Discord page for Big Geek Con? Well,
Big Geek Con itself, no. We have a Biggest Geekies Discord. I can put a channel in there for the con.
Yeah, and Big Geek Emporium is biggeekemporium.com, where you can buy games made by you in your way. Check it out. Anything else, my brother?
Nope.
My CabCon peeps. Can't wait. It's very soon. But this is Randy.
And this is Joe.
And remember, if you can't be big like us, then be geeks like us.